The thing about rock and roll in the 60s and 70s, it wasn't safe. It wasn't polished. Nobody knew what was going to happen next. And that's exactly what made it magic. These photos capture that feeling, that moment before the world got predictable, when anything was possible and the music was still dangerous. By 1959, Ricky Nelson was a rock and roll king. Director Howard Hawks cast him in the western Rio Bravo alongside John Wayne, specifically hoping his music stardom would pack the theaters with teenagers who'd never seen a western before. London, 1968. Four young men who would soon conquer the world. On their first tour, they were called the New Yardbirds. The name Led Zeppelin came from Keith Moon, who joked a band like this would go down like a lead balloon. Janis Joplin and Big Brother backstage in Detroit, 1968. Their album Cheap Thrills was #1, but this was the end of the road. Janis was about to leave the band that made her famous, chasing a new sound and her own destiny. Creedence in 1969, their miracle year. They released 3 classic albums and played at Woodstock. The amazing part? John Fogerty wrote all those songs about the bayou before he had ever actually been to Louisiana. Mick Fleetwood in 1981. As the members of Fleetwood Mac drifted apart to make solo albums, Mick went to Africa to record his own. This photo captures the adventurous spirit of the eccentric, steadfast drummer who was the band's true heart. Marianne Faithfull, 1967. Yes, she was with Mick, but she was a star before that. Her own records, her own audience. Then came the Redlands bust, the headlines, the myth. This is her right before everything changed. George Harrison in 1967, the spiritual ambassador of the Summer of Love. His deep dive into Indian music wasn't just a fad. It fundamentally changed the Beatles' sound on Sgt. Pepper and introduced Eastern philosophy to an entire generation. Jimi Hendrix at Forest Hills, 1967. Fresh from his triumph at Monterey, he was on a disastrous tour opening for the Monkees. The sheer volume of his revolutionary sound was a shock to the system, sometimes even for the man himself. Keith Richards, Stones UK Tour, 1971. Peak creativity, peak everything else. And in the middle of it, his dog Boogie. Constant companion. Even Keith needed something steady when the world was spinning that fast. David Bowie, arriving to record his masterpiece, Station to Station. He was pushing himself to the edge during this period, so consumed by the creative process that he later claimed to have little memory of making the brilliant album. The Ramones in the UK, 1978. The Gabba Gabba Hey sign was their rallying cry, a nod to the cult horror film Freaks. It was a message to all the outsiders that they were part of the Ramones' misfit family. Bruce Springsteen, 1978. After a 3-year legal exile, he returned with the raw power of Darkness on the Edge of Town. This photo captures the album's central theme, the dream of escaping a world of broken promises, with only a car and the open road. The Kinks, 1968. While everyone else was going psychedelic, Ray Davies wrote about village greens and steam trains. The album flopped. Nobody got it. Took years for people to realize what he'd made. A love letter to an England that was already disappearing. Backstage at Monterey Pop, 1967. The legendary rivalry between The Who and the Hendrix Experience over who would close the show that night led to Pete Townsend smashing his guitar to pieces and Hendrix responding by setting his on fire. The Jimi Hendrix Experience, backstage in 1967. They were on a bizarre package tour with pop singers, but they stole the show every night. This was the moment their electrifying live act proved too powerful for the mainstream to ignore. The Smashing Pumpkins, 1993, Siamese Dream. Billy Corgan basically played everything himself, drove the band crazy, locked himself in the studio for months. But that sound? Layered, huge, unlike anything else that year. The obsession paid off. This was the house that blues built. Etta James with Leonard and Phil Chess, the masterminds of Chess Records. They weren't fancy producers. They just knew how to capture raw emotion on tape, pushing Etta to create her legendary sound. The crowd for the Permanent Waves tour in 1980. This was the moment Rush cracked the mainstream code. They streamlined their complex sound without selling out, paving the way for moving pictures and proving that prog rock could dominate the radio. The Rolling Stones, 1963. This is one of their first publicity shots. Their manager was already crafting their image, famously ordering them to look sullen and dangerous in photos in order to be the anti-Beatles. The rebellion had begun. The Stones on the Exile Tour, 1972. Peak era. Mick Taylor's guitar weaving through everything, the band loose and tight at the same time. They were living hard and playing harder. This is what the Stones looked like when nothing could touch them. Elvis Costello, 1977. The year his aim was true. His nerdy look and venomous, brilliant lyrics were a shotgun blast to the bloated rock scene. The angry young man who made punk rock smart and dangerous all over again. Don't let the clean-cut image fool you. Buddy Holly was a studio genius. He pioneered techniques like double-tracking vocals and was one of the first rock artists to write and produce his own material. A true visionary gone far too soon. David Gilmour on the legendary Animals tour in '77. The massive stadium shows were so alienating to Roger Waters that he infamously spat on a fan. That single moment of disgust directly inspired him to write the band's magnum opus, The Wall. The Experience, in full psychedelic color. This photo was for the American release of their debut album. The band hated the original boring UK cover and demanded this vibrant new look to match their revolutionary music and style. Yes, 1969. Before the 20-minute songs, before the Roger Dean covers. Just 5 guys with big ideas and voices that stacked like nothing else. The prog epics came later. This is the raw beginning.